Good morning and welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Tuesday, November 26, 2019. And here are your top stories. AI is coming, but it's not even close to real intelligence. And it's Thanksgiving, and that means Black Friday. And we'll give you some Black Friday and Cyber Monday tips. Well, it's Tech Tuesday, and that means a look at the intersection between finance and technology. And joining us, of course, Daniel Klein, Senior Technology and Consumer Products Reporter with The Motley Fool. Happy Thanksgiving, Daniel.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Jeff.
Well, thank you. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving with friends and family. I think you're actually planning a trip, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I'm going to be with my son in the middle of the Bahamas, heading to Haiti, of all places.
Wow. It's going to be a very sunny, hopefully a very sunny holiday. So good for you. So let's dive right in. I want to get to Black Friday in our second segment, just so the audience knows, because you can't do a show the week of Thanksgiving and not talk about Black Friday. But let's talk about artificial intelligence, because I recently read several articles that artificial intelligence really isn't how we all think of artificial intelligence. So why don't you weigh in on this?
So artificial intelligence, we're at the sort of nascent stages of using technology to help us predict results. So a big example that's being used at about, I think it's 7,500 McDonald's, is when you pull up to the drive-thru and place your order, the board in front of you will show suggested order items based on the time of day, other people's history, the weather conditions, and a whole bunch of factors. So they're using this data to figure out, instead of just asking, would you like fries with that, maybe there's like a really good chance you'll want a shake, or people who follow your pattern always get an apple pie, so they should remind you to get an apple pie. Whatever it is, it's behind the scenes. You don't really know that it's happening. I mean, you see the result, but you don't know what's going into it. You're also seeing this at Amazon. So the Amazon local warehouses, they know that me or someone who fits my profile is going to order a box of gummy bears, some tea, and replacement razor blades 3 days from now. And that box can be picked, packed, and ready to go. That's all crunching numbers using artificial intelligence. And those are good examples of it, because you as a consumer aren't thinking about it. If you went to a doctor who told you, I'm not a real person, I'm artificial intelligence, I'm going to look at your injury or your symptoms and give you a result based on that, a lot of people are going to go, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I want an actual doctor, because maybe you're going to determine that I have whooping cough, and in reality, I have bronchitis. So this is starting to happen, and IBM has been a big leader in this. But it's happening in ways that you don't see. Some of it powers the driverless vehicles, where not only are they using GPS data, but they're using history and traffic and all different things. It's going to help with delivery routes. So companies are going to be able to put trucks on the road at times that are most advantageous. But we're in the very early stages of it, and most of it is an assist to humans, not a replacement for humans.
Yeah, and I think that's the balance. I think when I think of artificial intelligence, I'm thinking Skynet from the Terminator series. That is a living, self-learning, based intelligence. And I think we're not there yet, although you did bring up IBM, and the IBM Blue, was able to challenge a world champion chess player and beat that person. But for the most part, what we're really talking about here is number crunching, data crunching, presenting that information to allow humans to then make changes. And so we're not really at the point where it's self-learning.
I don't think we're anywhere close to the fully automated house where, look, I've been to CES a bunch of years, and they show you the refrigerator that can order eggs or tell you your eggs are spoiled and order new ones and all of these different things. And the reality is, we basically use our digital assistants to play music, tell us the time, and in my case, set timers in the kitchen. We aren't really using the many higher features. Like, you can use your Echo, your Amazon Echo, to make phone calls, to do all sorts of other things. Most people don't do that. So the idea that we're like 6 months away from saying, like, dishwasher, wash the dishes, stack them, please take my suit to be dry cleaned, and all of these things happen automatically, I think that sort of Jetsons like future for our home is far away. In
Yeah.
our factories, in our stores, you're seeing more of it. A Walmart uses automated ordering that it can see the pattern of what goes in, what goes out. It knows, oh, hey, look, just because we sold a lot of pumpkins in October, don't reorder a lot of pumpkins past November 15th. Like, it figures out all of these things. And even then, there are still humans involved in the process. But on a big ticket level, you're going to see more and more of this. On a personal level, we're going to resist it.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a great point that you brought up last week in our conversation about robo-advisors, which we also featured on our BRN weekly wrap-up program because it was really powerful, is that the concept of trust. So you go to the doctor, can you trust that artificial intelligence, or that, we're not at that point where we can actually rely solely on an artificial device to tell us that we have whooping cough in your example, or bronchitis, or any other ailment.
Yeah, and look, there's going to be different levels of acceptance. So today I used Teladoc. I woke up this morning and I have what looks like a blister on my finger, looked it up online, turns out it's a small infection, and didn't seem worth sitting in line, going to an urgent care. I knew what it was. So I did talk to an actual doctor who wrote me a prescription. Go pick up the prescription after the show, have to soak my hand in Epsom salts, not a big deal. I knew what it was going in. I knew what the expectation was. So if that had been an automated service, I probably would have been okay with it. But if I woke up with a fever and didn't exactly know what was wrong, maybe I would do a call like this with a Teladoc and go through my symptoms, find out if I should go get a strep test, or if I just need a prescription, whatever it is. But I wouldn't feel that comfortable with an AI going, well, you're this age, here's the weather you live in. Yeah, it's probably this. That is a big leap of faith. We're going to make small leaps of faith. How many things do you have that are now automated delivery? I only have a few, but I do have a few. My razor blades come, once a quarter. I get 12 of them from Dollar Shave Club. You're going to start to see more of that. In Seattle, I actually saw people getting milk deliveries, like it was 1950, but all automated through an app, but coming from local farms. So you're going to see more and more of this, but it's also going to be on things we really, really understand.
Well, did the milk delivery have cream on the top? Because my father used to tell stories about how they would eat the cream when, back in the old days, when they would deliver milk. I don't know if it had that.
So I only saw the coolers they go in, and asked my friend who lived there sort of what they were for. I thought maybe it was like some sort of drug thing or illicit, because it was very strange to see these in everyone's backyard. I didn't actually open them to pry and see what the Airbnb I was staying at, what the milk actually looked like. But I am guessing maybe.
Yeah. Let me ask you one last question before we go to break. It sounds to me, so we're not at this point where it's self-aware. So maybe it's iRobot is a better example of a movie where there's artificial intelligence. Are we limited by humans in terms of analyzing that data and what to do with it real time? Because if someone's presenting all this data, and I can tell you, Dan, there's a lot of data that I get presented with on my phone, and I swipe left or right, whatever the right direction is. It's sensory overload. So are we limited by what humans can actually analyze in real time?
There's a limit to everything, but obviously there's people smarter than us who can do a lot with putting data together. And you mentioned iRobot, but that's an area where we're starting to see smarter and smarter robot vacuums. I have a relatively inexpensive robot vacuum, and every now and then we'll get a message on my phone, iRobot is stuck on a cliff. Well, there are no cliffs in my apartment. I don't know about where you live, but my condo is all on one floor. There's no mountains. So it's not that smart. But I think we are getting to the point where an MRI machine, a very expensive piece of equipment, can self-diagnose and figure out problems before a human would see it. Your car, in some cases, can tell you this is coming down the line, go to a mechanic. So again, the human limitation is going to be our fear. We've all heard the story that autopilot can fly planes and we don't really need pilots. Good luck to the first person who gets on a plane that doesn't have a pilot. I don't see that happening anytime soon because there's going to be human limitations. So again, this stuff is happening, and it's happening behind the scenes, and it will get more and more trustworthy. And as we learn, learn that FedEx has been using pilotless planes. They haven't been, but let's pretend 5 years from now they have been. Then we might say, well, FedEx has flown this route 10,000 times with no pilot. Okay, I'm comfortable getting on that plane. There's a pilot sitting in coach in reserve in case something goes wrong, but he's taking a nap. But we're not there yet.
Yeah, unless your pilots are over and under, which is an airplane reference. Dan, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Dan about Black Friday. You know, you can't do a show Thanksgiving week and not talk about Black Friday. So stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network. Welcome back. And you know, with Thanksgiving and the holidays comes Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And what do you need to know before heading out to shop or shopping online? Dan Klein from The Motley Fool still with us. All right, Dan, we have to do one. So let's talk Black Friday. Give us a technology angle to that, though.
Well, Black Friday has changed. So I've been at the Motley Fool for 6 years, and I've probably significantly written about Black Friday for 5 of those. And it used to be very focused on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, the called Black Friday, because it's traditionally the day a retailer goes from the red, losing money, to the black, making money, because it's such a huge sales day. Right. Before that, when I was running a toy store, Black Friday, well, it wasn't a huge day for us compared to like a box store because we weren't in a mall. It was still a very big day and the kickoff of our sales season. Now, sales are starting November 1st. And Black Friday, while it's still a big event and there still will be people lining up, it's been diluted. So a lot of retailers, and this was the story 2 or 3 years ago, which retailers are opening on Thanksgiving. So some of them, your big chains, would open Thanksgiving to get a jump on it. And then Cyber Monday came into the picture. So as a consumer, you have to be very smart. Right now, you need to make a list of what you can afford. First of all, a budget. Right. Then you need to look at your gift-giving needs or your family needs. Maybe you're going to get a new stove for the holidays or whatever it is. And then you need to do your homework and figure out, okay, I'm going to buy a laptop. And this MacBook that I'm going to buy is normally $1,200. Apple's selling it for $1,100 on Black Friday, really the only time of year Apple offers deals, and they're giving me 5% back or a gift card or whatever it is. Okay, that's a deal. This is what I'm going to spend. Maybe that big screen TV you're looking at might be a great price, but look carefully. Maybe it's lower resolution. Maybe it's a slightly different model number. Black Friday is a great time to buy a big TV that's just mediocre. It's not a great time to buy a big, fully featured TV in most cases. So you have a lot of responsibility. And where technology comes in is you can do a lot of price checking on your app. If you're buying electronics, you can look up reviews of that actual model. You can read Amazon, consumer reviews. And again, don't trust those if there's only 5 or 6 reviews. But if there's 600, which there would be for most major electronics purchases, you can sort of, yeah, there's a few fake ones in there, but for the most part, they're going to be good. You shouldn't get sucked in by the idea that it's a doorbuster deal or you got to act now. You just got an email from Kohl's that if you buy this sweater, you're going to get this and that. Do you need it? Can you afford it? Are you really getting a good price?
Well, Dan, it seems like Black Friday and people actually going physically to a store, that's almost like a game for people. I mean, they try to, I've seen the pictures. We've all seen them, people elbowing themselves, other people out of the way. They're, trying to get the last Cabbage Patch Kid. It was the last thing I can remember, or American Girl doll, right? Trying
those
to
little hamsters one. A couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that for a lot of people, that is a blood sport or a sport that people play. But you bring up a really interesting angle, which is the personal finance angle. And now is the perfect time, especially people watching this program, to think about what they're going to get for their friends, family, children, whomever, and make a budget. And you can't say this enough, because you don't want to walk out of the store after buying a big ticket item or big ticket items and increase your debt. And Dan, we talked about this on the podcast earlier, late last week on Sunday, that personal loans and people taking loans to buy during Black Friday may not always be the smartest idea, though it can help in certain circumstances.
So you can have a good holiday just sitting around with some eggnog with some friends. You don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money. I know that my wife and I, who don't really have a holiday tradition, I'm Jewish, she's Christian, we kind of don't celebrate any of the holidays. We've never been huge gift givers. We are much more about, do you need something? Is there something you want? This year, we replaced a roof at one house, did the floor at another, bought new couches to match the floor. We kind of made a decision that for our birthdays, anniversary, and the holiday season, which all fall within a few months of each other, that we're not really going to buy anything beyond token gifts. Maybe we'll have a nice meal out. My son, who's 15, will get some things he needs. He'll get some gifts from the family. There aren't a lot of kids in at least my father's side of the family. But we're not going to fall into that pressure of, it's Christmas, let's make sure there's big gifts under the tree. We don't have a tree. It's not necessary. I can afford to buy whatever I want on a daily basis when you're talking, things that cost $50 to $500. So we're trying to get out of that consumer culture and be more about experiences. We have passes to various theme parks because we live in Southern Florida. I've traveled a lot over the last couple of years. I'm lucky that I can afford it, but even when you're doing well, think about, hey, if I'm spending $1,000 on the holidays versus putting that $1,000 in my retirement fund, what am I costing myself? If I'm getting my kid a $500 Xbox when he already has an Xbox and he just wants the newer one, should I put that in his college fund? Make smart decisions and live within your means.
Yeah, I think those are really great lessons because, adults are really like children. When you buy a gift for a child, after a week after playing with it, they put it aside and they want the next thing. And adults, unfortunately, are like the same way. So I think I really echo your sentiment, which is get the experience, because the experience will be with you for a long time, and you always kind of look back on that, I think. Dan, always a pleasure talking with you. I was going to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, but we're not there yet. Happy Thanksgiving. Always a pleasure talking with you. Enjoy your trip, and we will have you back on the show next week.
I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Dan. And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Hope you found it helpful and enjoyable at the same time. Hey, have a financial topic or someone of interest that you think we should interview? Drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the news in retirement markets, technology, personal finance, and so much more, check out today's edition of The Morning Pulse. So until tomorrow, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Waiting here for you to take